Sharp objects, a tale most curious and dark, one that unfurls its secrets with the methodical precision of a detective solving a complicated case, though in this instance the puzzle lies not within the bounds of logic and deduction, but within the twisted corridors of the human heart. Allow me to take you through this disturbing mystery. At the heart of the tale is Camille Preaker, a journalist who, by no desire of her own, finds herself returning to her birthplace, Wind Gap, Missouri. Her task is simple enough: to cover the chilling murders of two young girls, their lives taken with an eerie precision. Yet, as with all things in life, what appears simple at first unravels into something far more sinister, and the investigation becomes far more personal than Camille could have ever imagined. Her return to Wind Gap is not just an assignment but an unwelcome confrontation with her past. Camille's life, shaped by her own personal traumas, is intricately tied to the very fabric of this town. She is not merely a reporter sent to examine the death of two innocent children. She is a woman haunted by the death of her younger sister, Marion, a tragic loss that still weighs heavily on her heart. But it is not just the loss of Marion that defines Camille. It is the suffocating, controlling nature of her mother, Adora, that casts the longest shadow over her life. Adora, a woman with an air of elegance and civility, hides a much darker nature beneath her polished exterior. She exerts an unhealthy influence over her daughters, manipulating them with an affection that borders on madness. You see, Adora suffers from a rare and insidious condition, Munchausen syndrome by proxy, where she deliberately harms those closest to her in order to garner sympathy and maintain control. This, I dare say, is the crux of the novel. The chilling manipulation of a mother who seeks to dominate through love, affection, and ultimately, destruction. Camille, in her quest to uncover the truth behind the murders, is forced to confront these uncomfortable truths about her family. The scars that adorn her skin, words carved into her flesh, are not simply the result of past anguish, but are the visible manifestations of a deeper psychological torment. These scars, as painful as they are, serve as a reminder of the lengths to which Camille has gone to cope with the emotional weight she bears. They are the remnants of a life spent under the control of her mother's influence, a life marked by self-doubt and a desperate need for release. As the case unravels, Camille's investigation reveals a town steeped in secrets, secrets as deep and murky as the waters of a stagnant pool. The townspeople, though outwardly polite, are bound by a silent complicity, a refusal to acknowledge the darkness lurking within their midst. The murder of Anne Nash and Natalie Keene is not just an isolated act of violence. It is the product of a culture that has long turned a blind eye to suffering and abuse, a place where people pretend that all is well, even as the rot festers beneath the surface. Through her inquiries, Camille discovers more than she bargained for. The more she learns about the murders, the more she realizes that the culprit is someone far closer to her than she ever imagined. And here we find our first twist. Adora, the very woman who should have been a protector, the woman who should have been a pillar of love and support, is revealed to be the instigator of these tragedies. Yet, as with all great mysteries, there is a twist within a twist. For though Adora is indeed guilty of abusing her children, it is not she who holds the title of murderer. The real killer, the true perpetrator of these heinous acts, is her daughter, Amma, a child of innocence, one might think. But like many others, Amma wears a mask of sweetness that hides a far more disturbing nature. She has learned from her mother, perhaps even better than her mother, how to manipulate and control, and it is Amma who, with chilling detachment, takes the lives of those two girls. The murders are not acts of random violence, but of calculated cruelty, driven by a thirst for power, a need to dominate those weaker than herself. The discovery of Amma's guilt is a shock, one that shakes Camille to her core. Her family's legacy is one of suffering, manipulation, and destruction, and it is only through the harsh light of truth that Camille can begin to understand the horrors that have shaped her life. She must reckon not only with the violence that has been visited upon others, but with the painful realization that she, too, has been a part of this cycle. And so, in the end, Camille is left with no sense of closure, no catharsis. Her mother's crimes, Amma's crimes, the insidious control that has shaped her every decision, these things cannot be undone. They linger, like the smoke of a fire that refuses to die. There is no true resolution, no final triumph of good over evil, for the truth, as it often does, is far more complicated and far darker than any simple answer. This is a tale, dear reader, not of a neat and tidy resolution, but of the grim, unrelenting truths that lie just beneath the surface of our lives. In Sharp Objects, Gillian Flynn explores the ways in which love can become a weapon, how pain can be passed down through generations, and how the darkest corners of the human soul are often hidden beneath the most familiar of facades. It is a story not just of murder, but of the many ways in which we are all complicit in the suffering of others, knowingly or unknowingly.